Pink Floyd, they're a huge influence for me, and there's three albums that were profound formative influences. Um, the first album, The Wall, um, basically another brick in the wall, and when we were kids on the schoolyard of Christ the King School, Skulkery Street, we used to sing We Don't Need No Education. We used to sing it in the corridors. We used to sing it in the classrooms. We used to sing it everywhere. It's one of the refrains of my childhood. And also, were first exposed to Dorian Mode and one of David Gilmour's finest solos. Next, Dark Side of the Moon. Again, just when I started to become a musician and kind of take guitar seriously, kind of thing. I remember listening to that extensively and being incredibly influenced by the songs, obviously, which are incredible, but also the little soundscapes. These were incredibly influential. And Pompeii, live at Pompeii. I've always been into classical antiquity. I speak Latin, and I kind of, like that kind of Roman history and stuff like that. I like that. Always did. But the concert itself, like the atmospherics, the cinematography, the whole kind of schematics, use of the amphitheatre and all this was absolutely compelling, but their music was just unbelievable. It was an experience and highly influential. When I played in Macedonia with Tony Kitanovsky, Ollie Juev, my great friend Alec Sekulovsky, we played in a small Roman amphitheatre to a modest crowd. And about a quarter of the way through the gig, I put the guitar on the ground and started working on the floor, basically. Now, Tony kind of pointed at me, or pointed at somebody else, kind of intimating that's the kind of thing I should be doing, and he reciprocated, did the same thing. Now, I was inspired to do that by Pink Floyd at Pompeii, because they were down on the ground on the stage playing their instruments, and I was imitating that. Now, they got the idea for that from AMM. They played with AMM on several bills, and Keith Rowe had been performing in this kind of manner since the early 60s. And I was influenced by Pink Floyd, and so were Radiohead, because Radiohead did the same thing, and they were influenced by Pink Floyd to do that also. Intriguingly, Pink Floyd come from Cambridge, and Roger Waters, when he was living in Cambridge, he was influenced by this Monk album that had Art Blakey and Charles Mingus, and he was so enamoured, he used to follow Art Blakey and Charles Mingus, and basically the first Paul Blade trio was Art Blakey and Charles Mingus. The last Paul Blade trio was Mark O'Leary and Jeff Williams. Also, Nick Mason was heavily influenced by Jack Johnson. I played with Jack DeJohnette, who was one of the drummers on Jack Johnson. I also have a song called Theme from Jack Johnson on my album Ellipsis with John Herndon from Tortoise and Stalistor Lorcan from Super Silent. Intersections. On my album, the White Album with Paul Motion, the bass player John Patitucci, he played on one of Roger Waters' albums. Also, David Gilmour. I have several. I played with Chris Lawrence, virtuoso double bass player. He played on one of David Gilmour's first albums. I played with Peter Erskine, incredible drummer, one of the best in the world. And David Gilmour played with Peter Erskine on a John Martin album. I played with Eberhard Weber. Indeed, I'm the only guitarist to have played Yellow Fields on Colours of Chloe with Eberhard Weber. And Eberhard Weber played on 2 albums of Kate Bush with David Gilmour. Nick Mason. Nick Mason had his own album called Fictitious Sports. The bass player on that album was Steve Swallow. Steve Swallow is an American cultural icon. I played with Steve Swallow. I toured with Steve Swallow, and Steve Swallow was on my album, Awakening. I'm very honoured. And also, Nick Mason featured on an album of Michael Mantler with Jack DeJohnette. But he also, Michael Mantler also played with several other people like Paul Bley and Barry Alschull that I'm connected to. So Pink Floyd, incredibly influential and one of the most popular bands. I mean, when I was, when I was teaching, very easy to get your hands on an acoustic guitar and play a whole set of Pink Floyd. And many, many, many people did. They were one of the most popular bands. Thank you very much for listening.